Millions of us look for the best way to lose weight and stay healthy. There's the Atkins diet, Pritikin, high carb, low cal, South Beach, Hollywood, Beverly Hills, LA Loss, and many more. But stay tuned and we'll talk about the Fat Flush Plan with nutritionist Ann Louise Gittleman. Good morning and welcome. I'm Steve Kamadian. Today we're going to speak with nutritionist educator Ann Louise Gittleman. Ms. Gittleman is the author of over 20 books with millions in print. She has appeared on many television shows such as The View, Dr. Phil, Good Morning America, as well as appearing on cable channels, public television, and CNN. She has always talked about healthy lifestyles. It has been her career. Ann Louise, welcome.
Hi.
Now, Fat Flush Plan. Now, it's such an optimistic name, like you're flushing away all the fat.
We do. We flush away the fat, we flush away the toxic fluids that can make people fat, and we give people the right kinds of fat, Steve, most importantly, to help them lose weight better and more efficiently. So that's why my program is so much different than whatever else is out there. We talk about the essential fats that trigger fat burning rather than fat deposition.
Well, when you talk about this particular what do you call it? Was it a regimen, a diet, a plan, a lifestyle? How do you phrase it?
It's a lifestyle. No, it definitely is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that kind of evolved from my experience as the director of nutrition at the Pritikin Longevity Center. I was there in the early 1980s. My first book was Beyond Pritikin that included a chapter called The 2-Week Fat Flush. It became so popular that later on, 12 to 15 years later to be exact, I had to write an entire book called the Fat Flush Plan.
So kind of the seeds of it, the origin were the 1988 chapters.
It was because of my experience as the director at the Pritikin Center, where no to low fat was the ruler of the day. Everybody was eating carbohydrates. Everybody was eating sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes, maybe some shredded wheat between meals. As long as the food had no fat, it was considered to be healthy. We then found, and I learned that early on, that if you had no fat in your program, you were going to get fat on too many carbohydrates and sugar.
No fat will make you fat.
No fat will make you fat, exactly.
Now that sounds like a contradiction.
Well, it sure does, and that's why I wrote my book, because I talk about the fear of eating fat as an underlying weight gain factor.
Well, now let's just backtrack a little bit. You've made a career of this for, like you referred back in Pritikin, and there have been so many regimens and lifestyle approaches. Why wouldn't this not be a fad?
Because it started in the 1980s. It started as a real-life program with my clients and my readers. It started as a theme in my first book in 1988. I've gone on to write 20 other books. It has been a recurring theme that has drawn an enormous amount of people who are now fat flushers, and we've got a whole industry, so to speak, that has been built around the success of this very grassroots program.
Well, you mentioned the book. Let's bring the book up. There's a book that you wrote. We brought it up on the monitor there.
Oh, good.
The Fat Flush Plan. Now, is that your latest book? Or
the Fat Flush Plan is the central book of the Fat Flush program. Besides that, I have a Fat Flush cookbook where we've got all these recipes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, nutritional sweets, where you use all the elements of the program so it becomes a lifestyle for both you and your family. Then we've got the Fat Flush Fitness Plan, which has just come out.
That's another book. Okay.
Yes.
We also got an image of that, and it's up there. Fat Flush Fitness Plan. So you've got alliteration 3 F's.
Yeah, I got to be
and
creative.
And the next book, you're going to have alliteration 4 F's.
I know, we got to get creative with that.
You're making your job tough. You know that. You realize that. But now, the fitness plan, how does that work into it?
Well, the fitness plan is the exercise component of a good lifestyle, and we are the only major diet brand that has a fitness component. The co-author of that program is Joni Gragans, who's a very well-known personality in the Bay Area. She got on the bandwagon of Fat Flush years ago when she used to interview me on a radio show. She said, I'm now going to do the fitness component for your very effective weight loss and inch loss program.
So your partner's in that, and she's the exercise side of it?
She's the exercise guru side of it, absolutely.
And she's on cable channels, so I mean, she's been on for many years, as you mentioned.
Yeah, she does the morning stretch,
right.
And she's been on for a good 20 years, and she's still going strong and looks better than ever, by the way.
And Fat Flush is supposed to do that. I mean, that's one of the one of the objectives is to look good.
Is to look good, is to look younger, to get rid of your bloat, of your cellulite. It's very effective in terms of the cosmetic value, and it's very effective in terms of lowering cholesterol, lowering triglycerides, and lowering liver enzymes. We're a very unusual program in that regard.
You're big on liver.
Liver's my favorite organ, Steve.
No, more than the heart.
Yeah, more than the heart.
So you are a liver girl.
Yes.
But now, why liver? Why is liver so important in the program?
It's so important because it is a very important detoxifying organ. And if it becomes overworked by too many toxins, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, HRT that a lot of women have taken and hopefully have stopped, then that's going to overload its ability to burn fat. So if you've got too many toxins, the liver loses its ability as a fat-burning organ.
All right, so, and do I assume by that, Ann Louise, that in today's world, it's not enough just to eat good, you eat well? I mean, because you could follow a good diet and eat the good things and the good carbs and the rest of it.
You could, but that's not enough. No, it's not enough for ultimate health.
Now, why is that not enough?
Because of all the toxins, the herbicides, the pesticides that need to be cleansed and purified from your system, because we now know that there's an association of impaired detoxification with many disease states. And we're talking about chronic fatigue, allergies, fibromyalgia, Parkinson's, and even cancer. So this is a missing link in terms of health and healing.
So as I take it then, you're saying we have created an environment for our species, so to speak, that now demands that we take an extra step with respect to lifestyle and food intake.
Exactly, and that extra step is detox and cleansing, and Steve, that's phase 1 of Fat Flush.
Okay. How many phases to Fat Flush?
Three phases.
All right, well, let's go through the phases then.
All right, let's go through them. Or there's pre-Fat Flush. Oh, we've got to talk about that. That's very important.
Pre-Fat
Oh, you've got to plan for the Fat Flush program. You've got to prepare your body. Because we take away sugar, artificial sweeteners, and caffeine. And interestingly enough, Steve, the hardest thing for most people is the reduction of caffeine. Taking away their 10 cups of coffee.
How important is that? I mean, can't you have some caffeine and still stay on the plan?
Yeah, we allow 1 cup a day, but the reality is I believe from the research and what I have seen empirically over these past 20 years and more is that 1 cup of coffee could be a tonic, whereby more than that could be a toxin to some people. It slows down the liver's ability to metabolize and to neutralize all of the poisons and pesticides.
So that's ironic. On one hand, some of it is good, but more of it could actually become bad.
Yeah, so it's balance, which of course is not a popular word. We're all extremists.
Well, suppose we do this. We need to take a break. Then we'll talk about the steps. The pre, 1, 2, 3, and then we'll all know what to do.
Okay, it's a deal.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're talking about the Fat Flush Plan with Ann Louise Gittleman. Ann Louise, we're saying that we were going to go through the plans. Now, the pre, you get yourself prepared.
Prepared, exactly, because when you go without caffeine and sugar and all the sugar substitutes and the trans fats, it can be a little shocking to the system. How long do you do that? 1 week. The most difficult thing is the caffeine, though, I must say, because you get your highs and then your quick lows, and we kind of glue ourselves together with all these cups of coffee. So we have to then reduce coffee. And we do that by the use of an herbal coffee substitute. So rather than 2 cups of coffee a day, you just have it half and half with the herbal coffee substitute.
Okay, let's say we make that hurdle. We get through that first week.
Good, congratulations.
Okay. Thank you. Now, next is?
Okay, phase 1. All right, that's the 2-week boot camp, 14 days on Fat Flush. And it's a pretty regimented program. Every day you must have 2 tablespoons of your flax oil, which is right here. I'm glad to see it. That's your lignin gold, 2 tablespoons of flax oil, which keeps blood sugar levels regulated, gives you a feeling of satiety, and will also bring down cholesterol.
This flax oil is something that you take every day?
Yeah, as part of the program. You've got to get your good omega-3s into your body.
Okay.
For brain chemistry, serotonin,
okay,
all sorts of wonderful things that, of course, you'll read about in the book. But 2 tablespoons of this and no heat recipes. So that's one of the aspects. Then phase 1, you'll also do 2 tablespoons of ground up flaxseed. And here's Viproflax. And this is absolutely delicious, by the way. It tastes like ground walnuts. So you put that over your food or into your unsweetened cranberry juice, which we'll discuss in a moment. Very high in fiber and also acts as an estrogen modulator. That means, God forbid, if cancer runs in the family, this will be protective against breast cancer and prostate
All
cancer.
right, so you've got two items, the flax oil and the fiber.
Right, or the flax.
Right.
The third item would be your black currant seed oil, which is another essential fat. And you'll be taking at least 360 milligrams of this for terrific skin, and this acts as a natural diuretic. Also very good in terms of diabetic neuropathy.
Right. Now, is this all you eat?
No, no, no. We got to the good. Now you get this out of the way, and then we go to the good part. So you're allowed during the day. You have at least 8 ounces of protein. So that means any good protein source. Twice a week, we give you some soy just to change the variety around a little bit. You're up to 2 eggs a day, but you must have the yolk because that's very good for brain chemistry in the eyes.
So you're eating real food.
Oh, you are eating real food. None of those bars and none of those shakes, because we're talking about real food, not glorified candy bars.
Right. Okay. So you're eating the food. Now, what are you drinking?
You're drinking unsweetened cranberry juice and water. I'm glad you asked. What else on Fat Flush? It's our fat flushing beverage. And it's very high in
Unsweetened
antioxidants.
cranberry juice. So the pure cranberry juice, which is diluted?
We dilute it with a formula that's in the book. It's different in different phases.
With a formula?
Yeah, there's a special way.
It's like a chemistry test.
This is kitchen chemistry, absolutely.
It is.
It's
All right.
kitchen chemistry, so you get the results you deserve, which are 2 dress sizes or 2 pant sizes in your
Well,
case,
is
Steve.
this for women, this diet?
It's for men and women.
It is for both.
Oh yeah, the men get exceedingly good results, faster than the women do, because
Why
they've
would
got
that be?
more muscle tissue, which acts as an innate calorie burner.
So they burn the calories faster and
Faster,
lose the weight
and lose the weight
quicker.
faster.
Okay. So then you're drinking the cranberry juice.
Throughout the day, which helps
Yeah.
in terms of stabilization of appetite, it depresses cravings, and the natural pH also kills bacteria in the
All right,
system.
and also you can have that 1 cup of coffee.
1 cup in the morning to
All right,
keep you
and
going.
what else can you drink?
Well, what more would you want? You've
Well,
got
there
your
are a lot of
unsweetened.
other beverages.
Not on the program. It's pretty stringent. It's unsweetened cranberry juice and water. It's your herbal coffee in the morning, or that 1
Well,
cup
how about
of coffee.
citrus stuff, things like that?
Oh, lemon juice and water.
You can do that?
You can do that as well.
And you have to dilute that too?
Yeah,
a bit?
it's the juice of half a lemon in hot water, and it's a marvelous tonic first thing in the morning.
This is daily. This is for 2 weeks.
It's for 2 weeks.
Okay.
But some people do it for 6 weeks because they feel so good on the program.
I see.
And some people need the regimentation to stay on track.
And what's the next step then?
Phase 2.
Okay. Then where do you go with phase 2?
Phase 2 is ongoing weight loss. You start adding back a few little things, see how your body can metabolize those friendly carbohydrates, maybe a slice of Ezekiel 4-9 bread that you can get at the health food store like Nature's Time that's here in the area. Or maybe a half a cup of peas or squash, or maybe a sweet potato, a little bit of carrots. Those are the friendly carbohydrates that you can now add back into the program, so you can stabilize your weight loss.
I see. So now you do have more of a variety, which is a good thing.
Variety
as
is
you go.
important. Oh, you got to have
Now
variety.
you mentioned Nature Time. I know we're on step 2, but you are here today with Nature Time.
Yes.
Over at the fairgrounds, and I think we
Yes.
have a slide up, which until 6 o'clock today, you're going to be at the fairgrounds talking about Fat Flush. Is that
I'm
correct?
fat flushing with a community. We're bringing Fat Flush to Syracuse, yes.
Well, and you've had a tie to Syracuse for a while with Wendy Myerson and Nature Time. You've known that organization for a while.
Oh, yes. I knew her father. I knew Stan Myerson for years and years. And he's always been a big supporter of mine, so it's a delight to be working with Wendy.
Now, what do you hope to accomplish? If someone says, hey, that sounds interesting, or I'm curious about it, and they come over to the fairgrounds today, I mean, what could they expect?
Well, they're going to expect information about the program, the complete lifestyle program, which is the exercise program, as we discussed, the food, the cleansing aspect, the journaling, the sleep. All of that I'll talk about because it's all part of the lifestyle. And I'm going to be doing a little cooking demonstration because the food is absolutely delicious. The herbs and spices that we use, Steve, are fat-burning herbs and
Well,
spices.
they're special, a fat-burning herb.
Oh, yeah. We're talking cayenne. We're talking mustard, cilantro. It's absolutely
So
wonderful.
hot stuff is good.
Yes. Spicy stuff will really get you to lose weight faster.
That sounds like another diet.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. I got to remember that.
Okay. But now you're in the second phase, and you're still taking the flax. You're still using the flax oil.
What you're doing is doing everything you're doing in phase 1,
Right.
but you're changing your intake of foods. You're widening out a little bit with those friendly carbs. You don't count carb grams, but they're friendly carbs. They're hypoallergenic. Your body should accommodate them better because you're doing now more exercise.
Now, and you're staying away from, what are you staying away from?
Grains, Wheat, rye, oats, and barley, because they're very allergic producing, which can create water retention. Staying away from a lot of extra
So breakfast
dairy.
cereal, no good.
Not at this point, no. We might add that back to phase 3 if you're good. That comes later.
I see. And how do you know if you're good? Whether you're losing weight or you're staying on the program?
Yeah, if you're losing weight and you find that you're not allergic or having any symptoms after you eat certain foods, because I have you doing a little journaling.
I see. You mentioned journaling a couple of times now.
It's
that is
important.
part of the process?
Yeah, because I want to track and see what your triggers are. I mean, some people don't realize that they may have an allergy to wheat. And if they have wheat cereals in the morning, they're going to be falling asleep maybe an hour to 2 hours later, and they never connected the food with what's happening in terms of their behavior.
So in that sense, I can see you arguing you learn a lot about yourself and your food reaction to you.
And sometimes what people have told me on my website, that www.fatflush.com, is that it's what they're not eating that has made the biggest difference in their lives.
What they're not eating,
as
opposed to what they're eating.
Because
they never realized something was having a cause and effect.
Exactly. They didn't know the food-mood connection.
Now, you mentioned fatflush.com.
I
website.
got that in, didn't I?
You did get that in, right. Now, well, what would one expect to see if one went to fatflush.com?
We have a homepage certainly that welcomes everybody. We have a Fat Flush store so that if people can't get these things in a nature time wherever they live, they could get it in a our Fat Flush store, which is it's a web store.
An online order.
Thank you, an online order. But beyond that, we have something very unusual, which is a forum, so that if you have a question, a concern, an idea about a recipe, or if the program is too difficult, people will be inspiring you and supporting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they do this out of the love of the program.
Well, is the forum one where you or someone with your program responds, or do actually other people who write in respond?
I have community leaders that manage the forum. I have 3 to 4 on that particular forum. We're also on iVillage. And people just answer queries and questions. We've got doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs, you name it. Everybody has a view, and everybody can express it and then get some interaction. And I'm on there when I can be on there.
When you're not traveling.
When I'm not traveling and doing shows, yes.
Now, we were still on kind of 3, and 3 was widening the food, and I want to continue to the extent that you can talk about the phase 3, but you also mentioned lymphatic cleansing, and I'd like to really talk about that because that seemed core to your program.
It is.
But we'll take a break first and come back.
Okay.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're talking about the Fat Flush Plan with Louise Gittleman. Now, a couple of things. One, that third phase. Give me the full, pitch on the third phase.
Okay, the third phase is you've lost your weight, you've lost your inches, your blood pressure has come down, so it's time to enter into real life again. That's lifestyle. And at that point, we've got 2 dairy products you can have, maybe a little yogurt, a little cheese. You can also have up to 4 friendly carbohydrates without gaining an inch.
A friendly carb.
A friendly carb.
Like a friendly carb would be a what?
Like a friendly carb would be a little half a cup of oatmeal in the morning, maybe a little popcorn here and there, maybe some corn chips. That's when you know that these foods are not troublemakers because you've been journaling all along and you feel that you need more fiber and more variety because after all, this is real life.
So now, if you indulge yourself once in a while,
like
do you allow to indulge and kind of fall off the program for a day and just end up with a lot of ice cream and cake and candy and stuff like that?
Well, some people do because people do,
right.
Because we're real people, However, when you feel awful as they do, when that happens, your blood sugar just goes south, then you get right back on track again and you do phase 1 for maybe 3 days and voila, all that junk, all that bloating and that rotten feeling, being tired and sluggish goes away.
So that's that cleansing side. I mean, that's
it's
what
the
you spoke about.
cranberry juice that's the magical ingredient there. It's truly a pH balancer that gives you energy and reduces
cravings. And the
cravings.
lemon too?
Well, yeah, and the lemon as well.
Now, you mentioned lymphatic.
Oh, yes.
Now, what is so important about the lymphatic system?
Well, the lymphatic system is a secondary circulatory system that ferrets around some fluid, some fat, as well as waste materials. If it's not flowing properly, you can feel sluggish and unwell. So we get you to jump up and down on a trampoline in the morning, a very efficient way to get the lymphatic flushed, so to speak. And it's important with the unsweetened cranberry juice and water that in my research actually targets the lymphatic system to help digest some of the fatty globules.
Now, how do you know that directly affects the lymphatic system, why wouldn't you running 5 miles do it?
Well, running 5 miles would, but most people wouldn't and don't in this day and time.
I see. So you're trying to stay within the practical.
We're trying to be practical, yes, for
Right.
busy people,
Well,
absolutely.
how much is there such a thing as too much exercise?
Well, too much exercise is going to increase your stress levels. That's going to increase cortisol and maybe ultimately make you gain weight, especially around the middle section. So too much of anything, if it increases that fat-promoting hormone cortisol, which is induced by stress, isn't good.
Moderation, you're saying, of course, is
Moderation
good.
and balance, and we're introducing those concepts, but in a kind of glitzy way to make them attractive.
Now, we have a list of a few items. When you mention, getting stress-inducing fat, we have a slide that has a few items on it, and it speaks about liver toxicity, which you spoke about.
Right.
Now, a waterlogged tissue, why not have as much water as you like? Why restrict yourself?
Well, what happens is if you're not taking enough water and protein, your body thinks it's going into starvation, starts holding on to water. So you want to include more protein, as well as some of the diuretic herbs and spices that are part of the program, and the unsweetened cranberry juice.
But how do you get waterlogged?
You get waterlogged if you're taking hormones, Steve. Women will tell you that if they're PMSing or perimenopausal, menopausal, too much estrogen in terms of progesterone. So the program truly balances that by helping to balance hormones.
Okay, I'll accept that. I won't argue with that one. All right, fear of eating fat can make you fat.
Yeah, So
okay,
that means if you're not eating fat, what are you filling up on?
But why, if you're fearing fat and you're fearing being fat, it's going to make you fat?
Well, if you're not eating the right kinds of fats, you will be eating too many carbohydrates that will make you fat, and too many sugars. And we've seen that when people have gone on fat-free diets.
Right. Okay, so they go on a fat-free diet and then they eat bad stuff. Is that what happens?
Well, that's what did happen. So now we're telling you can now eat the right kind of fat, stabilize your blood sugar, and lose weight in the process. Fat does not necessarily make you fat.
The right fat.
Well, of course, that's where the flax oil and the flax and the black currant seed oil come into play.
All right. Now, stress and fat. Well, I skipped one. Excess insulin.
Okay, insulin's a fat-promoting hormone. Too many carbs, too many sugars. That will promote the excessive amounts of insulin, which is a fat-promoting hormone.
And what is fat? And what is fat?
What is fat?
Yeah.
Well, when we talk about fat, we're talking about the white adipose tissue that, hangs here and here, and may hang off your belly.
But there's good fat and bad fat.
Well, when we talk about good fats and bad fats, we're talking about the essential fatty acids that are part and parcel of the Fat Flush program. So the omega-3s in flax that are in fish, we're talking about the good omega-6s and some of the botanicals. That's where the black currant seed oil, borage, evening primrose oil come into play. And then other fats that we talk about, that the omega-9s that we introduce in our maintenance program, phase 3.
And those are fats. Okay. Now, stress you have down as inducing fat.
Particularly fat deposition around the tummy, around the abdominal area. And that's because of the ability of stress to produce cortisol, which is another fat-promoting hormone similar to insulin.
Oh, and then when it produces that, then you just gain weight.
And you gain weight particularly around the tummy area because that's more metabolically active.
All right, so if a person can avoid those kind of danger zones,
right,
then that's not enough, though. Now you got to do the right things.
You've got to identify why you're not losing weight, which we do in one of our earlier chapters, and then we give you the solution, which of course is phase 1, 2, and 3 of the Fat Flush plan.
Well, now, do you think, Ann Louise, that this Fat Flush plan is kind of evolved out of all the other plans? Because you mentioned, you worked with Pritikin, you worked a career in this business. In '88, you came upon this as a good thing. But is this like just leading to something else?
No, it's an evolution. I call it a diet evolution, but this is the core program. This is what you need to do to lose weight and to feel good and have quality longevity. That's what I think.
And do you track the individuals?
We're tracking them now. We have a special program at a spa that is down in Arlington, Texas. It's the Greenhouse Destination Spa, and we're now tracking our individuals. I have the ability to do that now.
Do you have participants outside the United States?
All over. We've got them in England, we've got them in Belgium, and in Australia, where they now want me to come and tour.
Well, I'm glad that you're with us today in Syracuse, and anyone who wants to talk to you and learn more about it can go over to the fairgrounds today. That's terrific. It sounds very interesting. Thank you, Ann Louise, and thank you for being with us. I hope you'll join us next week.